Colleen's Corner and TAFE Media. This is my sister Ingrid, for anyone who doesn't know. She's going to tell us about her experience knowing the Wonderworld crew. This is back in the 1990s when you and Andrew were on holidays, your husband. And
it would have been I think it was in 1993.
93.
Yeah. Oh, no, 1994, I think, actually. I'm getting my stuff muddled up.
Okay, so either 93 or 94.
Yeah.
And you were in Vanuatu.
Correct.
And you happened to run into the Wonderworld film crew.
Yeah. So we were staying on an island called Bokissa. It's just a small little coral island off Espiritu Santo, which is a bigger island in Vanuatu, because of course Vanuatu is just a whole bunch of different islands together. One of the reasons you stay there is to go diving, and we mostly went there to go diving on the wreck of the President Coolidge. I think the guy who ran it, his name was Kevin Green. And he had a Japanese wife, Miyaki. I can't remember her name now. It'll come to me later. Anyway, so they ran dive trips. So we had been there for, I think we're staying for like a week, and we'd been there already for a little bit, and we dived on the President Coolidge, and we were just sitting around one day, and Kevin said, "Oh, by the way, there's a film crew coming." And it was from Simon Townsend's Wonderworld. We had heard of, and you and I grew up watching that. So this was the new version of Simon Townsend's Wonderworld.
And that was hosted by Pascal Fox.
That's right, yeah. So Simon wasn't hosting it anymore. I think he used to pop in occasionally.
He sold the rights to somebody else.
Yeah, what's the dog's name? Woodrow.
Yes,
Woodrow.
Could forget Woodrow. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so it was still the same sort of format of a show. It was a bit they would have these reporters and go out and do stories. Anyway, so for whatever reason, they decided to send a team over to Vanuatu and film some stuff in Vanuatu. And they happened to be there at the same time as we were there. Yeah, so now we were staying there, and Kevin Green was the guy who ran the island, and he had obviously talked to Simon Townsend's Wonderworld and had organised for them to come over. Yeah. Yeah, so
and
anyway.
Did you actually meet the production crew in person when you were there?
Yeah, because they came over. This segment that they were filming, so it wasn't about filming President Coolidge diving, because that's actually quite a deep dive in parts.
No, that's got a bit of history to it, as far as I know.
Yeah, so you go down to like 30 meters or something, so you've got to have your advanced open water to be able to do that dive, which we had, which is one of the reasons we were there. But anyway, so what they also had is just off the shore of this island where we were staying, you would go out and do what they called a shark dive.
Yes.
So Kevin Green would take it, like it was all prepped beforehand. So this is what the crew was there to do. So they were there to film this shark dive. So the production crew, which was like a sound guy and a film guy. I think they were, I'm pretty sure they were both guys. Can't remember. They had come over, and I just want to say, I think it was Katrina Roundtree who was there.
Yeah, but you're not 100% sure.
No, I'll have to see if I can dig up the old video. I haven't yet. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it was, because I'm pretty sure that's why Andrew doesn't like her.
So they were there.
And maybe it was Tony Johnston is there as well.
Yes.
Who I worked with later. I want to say later, yeah. on Murder Under the Microscope, which was a TAFE. It was TAFE's open access O10.
O10,
and
yes.
do you remember
I
O10?
studied
Well,
with them years ago. Yeah.
Same. And they used to run every year, and I think it went for about 5 or 6 years. It was quite popular. It was an educational
and that's
thing
when and you also met them through that as well.
Tony Johnston was on that as well. So anyway, so that's another connection there.
But that's a separate episode. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. So that was with work, and this was just we're on holidays. Anyway, so they had turned up to film this shark dive. And so Kevin had briefed us all beforehand on what was going to happen. The idea is that you get off the boat. So they had a boat, and you dive, like jumped off the back of the boat, and then you went down, and we all had to line up. And underwater, they had like set up all this coral and rocks and things in a little wall. And then so you all had to go down, dive down to the bottom, and lay down behind this wall with your little heads peeking over. And so basically what Kevin would do is we didn't feed the sharks because that's dangerous. But Kevin would take a bag of fish heads and fish that they'd used in the restaurant, and that's like bait to sharks anyway. So, and I think they trained them up pretty much. It's a bit like feeding the birds or feeding any kind of wild animal. They come to expect it. And so these reef sharks knew what was going. So they're little, they were white-tipped reef sharks. Or white-tipped ones, I think. And so basically what happens is you go down, we all dive down. It was about 4 or 5 of us, and lay down flat behind this wall, and Kevin would get a fish out of the bag and the shark and hand it out, and the shark would come and take it out of his hand, and they'd film it while we were down there. So that's what they were down there to do, to film. So that's what they were there for, and that's what we did. I think we had already done that.
30 years ago.
So Kevin had an underwater camera, so he took some footage of us on the President Coolidge, because our cameras and whatever that we had at that point couldn't film underwater. It's not like now with GoPros and everything. There was no such things back then. So Kevin took a little bit of footage of us diving on the President Coolidge, and then he had, I'm pretty sure we had already done one of these dives already, and then the production crew with Wonder World turned up, and we went and did it again, and got maybe that's why they picked him, because he could take some underwater footage. And they did all the the stuff up on land and on the boat, and that's, but Kevin filmed Miyake was her name. Kevin and Miyake filmed the underwater footage for them.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember taping it. I'm pretty sure I taped it off Wonder World when it was on TV. Yeah. And my friend from university, Liz, who I learned to dive with, remembers being home at uni one afternoon, like sick or something, watching Wonder World, as you do, and that came on, and that was the episode that she saw.
So that's how you knew about it being on TV.
Yes, or Wonder World had let us know that it was going to be on, and I can't remember now. So it's too long ago. Yeah.
So it's good that you had a friend that taped it for you so you could watch it.
Yes, it was good.
And so what went well, that nobody got eaten by the sharks?
No. So it was all they ran it safely, and they gave us safety briefing and told us what to do. They told us, if anything happened, here's what we do. It wasn't a very deep dive, so it wasn't it wasn't a very unsafe dive. Like beginners could virtually do it, because you went down, you laid on the bottom, you have your tank, so you didn't have to like hold your breath or anything. You just breathe normally. And you control you going up and down with your buoyancy vest. So you just sort of sunk down to the bottom, sat there, watched the sharks eat off Kevin's hand. And that was pretty cool. Like it was only a few meters away. It wasn't far
there was a bit
away.
of a blooper on your tape that was cut out of Wonderworld. Somebody didn't adjust their tank properly.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was Katrina Roundtree. This is the reason why it took forever. They did so many takes, Colleen, of her jumping in the water. Let's do another take. So the film crew was on the boat, and like we're in the water, and you know they filmed us all jumping in, and then they'd film her, and then let's just do one more. And so there's lots of frigging around in the boat, out of the boat, in the boat, out of the boat. So there was all that, and I think she was only like a very new diver, so she had only just really learned how to dive for this segment.
Experienced.
She wasn't very experienced, and she couldn't use her buoyancy vest properly and get down, because they filmed her going blah, 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 and disappearing under the water, and they did about 20 takes of that. But I think she was floating around, and then under the water she wasn't very good at like getting to where she needed to be and staying there, and the whole thing just took, I remember it just so much faffing about. It took forever. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what it's like when you have to film for TV and you have to do so many takes, get it right.
That's right. And it was really interesting to see the process of, you know, how many takes they did and how much footage they got, and then watching the end product and how they had edited all together to film, you know, a nice slick TV story. It was really quite interesting to watch, you know, that process.
It wouldn't be of interest that she kept floating away. No. And was she on did she accompany you lot to the Coolidge?
No,
so she wasn't during that part of the tape.
No. So they just were there for like one. I think that I don't even know if they were there for a night or they just came for the afternoon. I can't remember now, but they weren't there for very long. They basically came in, filmed their segment, and then pissed off again.
And then they left. Yeah, but they didn't stick around when you got to the Coolidge. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, and the other weird thing was, because we were there and they had been asking us about what else we had done in Vanuatu, and we had come, so that was our third stop. We went to the main island and just stayed in a hotel, and then we went over to Tanna, and the thing that Tanna is very famous for is having an active volcano.
Yeah.
And so the day after that, Simon Townsend, the production crew and the people were scheduled to go to Tanna and film there. So that was really cool because we had just been.
So you saw them there as well?
So I didn't see them there. We weren't there at the same time, but we were there, and then they went there and they filmed.
So, and there was another funny thing that about a big fish that was there.
Oh yeah, so on the Coolidge, and I'm not sure, maybe they put some of that footage in there. I can't really remember. So when you're on the President Coolidge, as I said, it's really deep dive. So when you do deep dives like that, or when you do most dives, they make you do a safety stop. But in this one, it was actually really important because you'd gone down so deep. What happens is you absorb nitrogen into your bloodstream, and if you come back up too quickly, it forms bubbles, and that's when you get the bends. So it's really important when you do a deep dive that you do what they call decompression stops on the way back up again, and let that come back out of your bloodstream really nicely, slowly, so you don't form
you don't want to get the
nitrogen bubbles. You don't want to get the bends because that's bad. So we were doing a decompression stop, but because you have to, and it's like 15-20 minutes or something. I think the longer you are and the deeper you are, it's all worked out how long and you've got dive computers that work it all out now for you. but you spend a fair bit of time at this decompression stop to make sure that you're safe, and that's why you've got to it's an advanced dive, because you can't just you have to be really careful not to use all your air up while you're breathing, and often new divers suck in the air and do big breaths and things. So anyway, so we were there and so basically they've built this sort of area where you do a decompression stop, and this huge blue groper hangs out there. And again, it's like trained, and it knows that when people are there, it's going to get fed.
Probably thought it was going to get a feed.
And and again, you can feed it little bits, and Kevin would bring bits of fish and stuff and give you. And so this is safe, but it was terrifying. I can't believe how scared I was of this massive big fish.
Oh, that must have been very brave when it come up. Yeah,
like, you know, you can watch sharks and dive with them, but they're sort of, you know, they're kind of over there a little bit. But whereas this is like, it was massive, and its mouth was so big, and it sort of sucks the fish out of your hand. Anyway, I did it. I gave it some fish, but I found it a bit scary. I didn't really love the big groper that much. Like, it was just a bit too big and a bit too close.
Yeah, a bit too big, too close. Yeah.
Yeah, like you think to yourself, well, if it wanted to, it could chomp my hand off. But anyway. Anyway, so that was fun.
If you're in the street and a dog follows you and it's a big dog. Well, I mean, I know that feeling, you know. I mean, I remember like one time me and Dad were at Lane Cove, and this dog kept following me during lunchtime. We were having something to eat, and I had a sausage roll, and it just kept following me. But it was, so I can imagine the fish would be like that.
Yeah, and because I think if you did it more often, you'd get more used to it.
Because it's a great way to overcome phobia. You know, doing diving and things like that, and you're scared of things under the sea, or you got thalassophobia and things.
What's thalassophobia?
Yeah, apparently that's the thing. That's like an actual phobia where you're scared of things under the sea, or going under the sea.
I definitely didn't have that properly. I don't have that. Like, I'm not scared of being under the water, or you know, I quite like it. I still do lots of.
Well, you wouldn't be diving.
Okay, I don't do lots of snorkeling. I do some snorkeling on some of our holidays, but I haven't been scuba diving for a long time now. Not since before the kids were born. I was going to go on one of our trips to New Guinea, but I got sick the day before, and I was not really comfortable going for a dive because I got lightheaded and fainted, and I thought, well, I don't really want to be doing that underwater, because that wouldn't be good. So I didn't go. I just went snorkeling instead. But anyway, I'll get back. I reckon I'll do another dive again.
Oh, I mean, you've still got your tanks, you and Andrew.
No, I haven't got any of that stuff anymore.
Oh no, so you sold it?
We've got enough crap. We have got enough crap, but we hadn't used them, so we sold them all. Someone came and bought them all my stuff. So if we ever take it up again, we'll just hire it, and if we ever get, because we live in Canberra, it's a long way from the ocean, so it's not like we're going to go every weekend.
Yeah, well, I mean, that wouldn't be realistic.
No. So no, I don't have any of my dive stuff anymore.
Yeah. So that's diving, and that's what brought you here brought you over to Vanuatu to see the Coolidge and the feeding of the sharks, and because of that you met the Wonderworld people.
Yeah.
That's a great experience, and well, I mean, the world, well, they say the world really is wonderful. It certainly was when you do have experiences like that and you meet famous people on top of that. That's definitely a bonus, isn't it?
Yeah. It was kind of cool. I can say I was on Simon Townsend's Wonderworld. Well, it wasn't called Simon Townsend's Wonderworld, but I'll always call it that.
But yeah, I'm in the habit of calling it that too.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, I better wrap it up. Okay, and that's what I have today for Colleen's Corner. My sister went to Vanuatu and she enjoyed it there. She visited the SS Coolidge. She had watched the shark feeding, and that's when she saw the Wonderworld people. Also, they went to the visit a volcano and went for a hike there. So, but she wasn't there at the time. So anyway, as Simon, you used to say, Simon Townsend used to say, the world really is wonderful. Thank you.